Mercedes Moné and Stephanie Vacour for the AEW Women's Championship and the Strong Women's Championship. And this is under AEW rules, they note at the beginning. So early on, we see Vacour with her own European clutch. And Excalibur notes that borrowing from Zack Sabre Jr. And Taz points out, he didn't invent that, And then as she starts doing the Otani style face wash in the corner, Nigel says, I wonder if Otani trademarked those. And Taz says, thanks, smartass.
They're hilarious.
Moné goes for the three amigos. The last one gets stopped, and Stephanie Vacour then takes over until coming off the top and is hit with a drop kick. And the Moneymaker is countered as Vacour hits a DDT and then misses a follow-up leg drop, and there's a double underhook pile driver by Vacour that gets blocked, and both go down off clotheslines. Vacour gets her own crossface when Moné counters, and the crowd just starts booing Mercedes at this point, and Mercedes kicks off the rope with the crossface applied. It's the bank statement is unnamed. It's just the crossface. Maybe we need like a 10Q form or something like that, a SEC filing, something like that.
They could workshop it. Yeah. I don't know about those ones, but yeah.
So yeah, at this point, the crowd is just all for Stephanie Vacour, and Moné starts elbowing her, hits a gut buster, and the announcers even call attention that Vacour has won the crowd over. And then the crowd starts chanting, fuck the Celtics. Then they move on. There's this dude in the crowd who's got a Celtics shirt on, and he's standing and he's calling attention to himself. And so this is just a kind of amplifying things. Then they move on to fuck the Red Sox. Meanwhile, the match is continuing, and Vacour gets a boot up to stop the frog splash and hits this nasty looking dragon screw out of the corner. Moné gets the crossface, and then that's turned into a jackknife. The Moneymaker gets blocked. She spins around and then finally hits the Moneymaker, and it instantly goes for the crossface and gets the submission at 16 minutes and 48 seconds and is presented with both belts, and she's getting booed. And this actually worked out great for the spot that was about to come. In terms of the match, I thought that these two gelled pretty well, and I came away super impressed with Stephanie Vacour. Like, I thought she was a great opponent for Mercedes in this, and they had to kind of overcome like this crowd that I think I think overall it kind of helped with what was going to happen afterward, but in the middle of the match, like, you sensed it was not even like they were just booing Mercedes. It was like they were just entertaining themselves for a portion of it. And I think when they got into the sports team stuff, I think it was less about the match and more about just getting their anti-Boston chants and going through them.
Sure. But I think it also calls to a feeling that this crowd had in wanting to treat Mercedes more as a heel. And I think it tells you about maybe an inauthenticity to her babyface character that I think a lot of people are continuing to find. It was certainly evident in the Willow feud, and despite I think how they managed to repivot her back into a very successful babyface in the build-up to this match, I thought these sort of crowds, like a New York crowd, are very unpredictable. And when it kind of came down to it, they would rather see Mercedes Moné positioned as the heel here. It also calls to, I think, how creative a performance Stephanie Vacour had here. I mean, I've seen her before, but I don't remember her looking this good. Like, she, to me, felt like one of the breakout stars of this show. Came in here and just, like, I would say in-ring outshine Mercedes Moné, who I thought Moné herself was excellent in this match. But Vacour, just like, her offense looks so powerful, so precise. She wrestles like a machine. And I was just like, I was blown away by her, and clearly I wasn't the only one, because this crowd, either through their dislike of Moné or just because they were so impressed by Vacour, were firmly on the side of somebody who made very minimal appearances on AEW television outside of, video packages, and like the one match I think she had against Lady Frost. So it made certainly for like a very unique and engaging atmosphere for the duration of this match. I would go as far as to say maybe the most engaged this crowd might have been up until the main event, or up until this point, I should say. I actually felt like this match was great, and Mercedes again delivered on pay-per-view.
Yeah, I didn't have like a low expectation of this match, but it over delivered for me. I was very impressed with both of them, but to me, Stephanie Vacour was she was just excellent on this show. So
I also love the way the moneymaker was used here as rather
it's like
than
a slam to set in the setup position now for the crossface.
yeah, exactly. Rather than like just as like a sort of an awkward DDT in and of itself, it's used as more of a way to get her position opponent into position for the bank statement, which I much prefer.
Just needs a name. So as Moné and Moné did a great job of really selling like the fact of winning these 2 titles and like really putting over like the win as well. And the crowd
like, and giving, I would say before that, John, like holding the titles and almost giving like a, you know, like embracing the heel reaction from this crowd.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah.
And then you hear Dr. Britt Baker's music play. And at this point, it was like they have set the scene perfectly here for this, where this crowd goes nuts. Huge pop for Baker, who has not wrestled since September. And she just comes out and stands on the stage. Moné holds up the belts and she walks to the back. And I think that's all you needed to do here. This was a great spot. And I think the crowd reaction just amplified this this return and putting that, like, she was going to get a babyface reaction anyway, but it was that much better that you had this sort of anti-Mercedes reaction and then you get the big babyface star coming back.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how they position this. I mean, you look at a scene like this and there's no other way than to present Britt Baker as the babyface and Mercedes as the clear heel in this feud. Now, does that mean their long-term plans are for Mercedes to be a heel? Or is she like the type of chameleon, you know, she can be a babyface, she can be a heel, depending on the opponent, like we saw with Willow, and before she bounced back to being a babyface for this particular program. I don't know. By this point, I feel like the crowd has told you enough that you should probably think about just making her a permanent heel. But you know, I'm looking forward to the feud. It's going to be, I think, the type of feud in this women's division that could actually elevate the division into you know, something more than just the occasional two matches for event.
Is this big enough to warrant the second ever tooth and nail cinematic match in her dental office?
I'd be curious to see Mercedes do one of those.
I would not, but that's an option out there.